truly believe that this co-founder is about to possibly sign Caitlin Clark. So for all the people saying what they want about Saudi Arabia, about all these different said things, I'm here to tell you, I believe not only Caitlin is going to sign, Sophie is going to sign as well.
It all started with a single click, a follow. On the surface, it's the most mundane action in the modern world. But in the high-stakes game of building a billion-dollar sports league, a follow can be a declaration of war. The man clicking the button is Grady Barnett, one of the co-founders of Project B, the mysterious new Saudi-backed women's basketball league. And the person he just followed, Caitlin Clark.
Here on X today. Now, I know y'all wondering, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? Now, he stated one of the co-founders of the new league is following Caitlin Clark. See the pictures below. This is interesting.
This wasn't a random scroll. Barnett, a serious executive building a serious enterprise, only follows about 1,000 people. And in the span of a single week, he strategically added not just Caitlin Clark, but her foundation and another top WNBA star, Sophie Cunningham. This wasn't the action of a fan. This was a move, a calculated business maneuver happening right out in the open, yet almost everyone missed it. These follows are recent. They are targeted, and they tell a story of a secret war for the soul of women's basketball that is already underway.
Oh, yes. He's not just following. He's not just... This is serious business here, bro. And Caitlin Clark is a recent follow. See, this is a recent. These two are recent, bro. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. Joelle Lloyd. Now, her signing was announced yesterday. God.
So what exactly is Project B? This isn't some startup that's going to fizzle out after one season. This league is funded by the same bottomless well of Saudi capital that launched LIV Golf and flipped the entire world of professional golf on its head in what felt like a single night. Remember what happened there? LIV Golf started offering guaranteed contracts worth $50, $100, even $200 million. PGA Tour players who had spent their entire careers earning $5 to $10 million total were suddenly faced with an impossible choice. Now, take that same financial tsunami and picture it crashing onto the shores of women's basketball.
When it comes to women's basketball, similar to how Caitlin Clark was. When Caitlin Clark came, it was a big splash. That's how this Project B is about to be. It's about to be a splash so big. It's going to fix the Caitlin Clark pipe. It's going to fix the women's basketball because the interest is there. It's just not entertaining to watch. And what is one of the main things that can fix entertainment?
Let's talk numbers, because the contrast is absolutely staggering. The WNBA's max salary for next season is around $200,000. Caitlin Clark, the woman who single-handedly brought in record-breaking crowds and sold more jerseys than anyone in the history of the sport, made just $76,000 as a rookie. Her entire 4-year contract is worth about $338,000. And then you have Project B, a league operating with no salary cap, no collective bargaining agreement to restrict them. They can offer whatever they want. And the word leaking out is that they are preparing offers in the range of $5 to $10 million for just 3 months of work in the offseason. For a 22-year-old, that isn't just a paycheck. That is generational wealth that rewrites her family's future forever.
Early working out, getting ready for the 2026 season. Now, something that stuck out to me that someone sent me, shout out to the homeboy Mike over at Twitter, is this CEO and co-founder of Project B. This guy right here is a serious businessman. He's not just the internet guy. He's a serious guy and somebody you definitely want to pay attention.
But Barnett's strategy goes far beyond just one superstar. If you look at his Instagram activity, a clear and ruthless pattern emerges. It's a domino strategy, right around Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. He also followed Joelle Lloyd, whose signing was just officially announced, and a proven veteran like Alyssa Thomas. These aren't random selections. These are some of the WNBA's most popular stars and fiercest competitors. He is strategically targeting the pillars of the league. This isn't just about collecting big names. It's about building a specific team identity. Think about it. Caitlin Clark brings unprecedented offensive firepower and marketability. Sophie Cunningham adds a gritty, physical presence and a massive social media following known for its passion. Alyssa Thomas is a triple-double machine, the epitome of a hard-nosed veteran. Jewel Lloyd is a dynamic young star on the rise. Together, they represent a complete roster blueprint: scoring, defense, veteran leadership, and youth. This calculated approach reveals a level of sophistication that goes far deeper than just throwing money around. It shows Project B is studying the league, understanding player dynamics, and identifying who the true culture setters are.
Side as well. Now, Caitlin Clark, I didn't check to see is Caitlin Clark following him. Let's see. Let's see who's following him. There I go, following him. Let's check Caitlin. No, Caitlin's not following him. Let's do Sophie.
And perhaps the most telling clue of all is that these connections are strictly one way. Caitlin Clark isn't following him back. Neither is Sophie Cunningham or any of the other players on his list. This is exactly what happens during high-level, sensitive negotiations. The executives do the work in the background, making the first move, while the players and their agents maintain complete plausible deniability. They can publicly deny any interest, telling the media they're focused on their WNBA season, while the real, earth-shattering conversations happen behind closed doors. This one-way mirror is a classic corporate intelligence and recruitment tactic. It allows Project B to gauge interest without forcing a player into a corner publicly. It's a low-risk, high-reward maneuver. If a player silently engages, the talks proceed. If they don't, Barnett can simply move to the next target on his list with no public embarrassment. This is how you poach an entire league. One strategic, silent follow at a time, building an alliance in shadows before making a world-altering announcement. To understand why Caitlin Clark is the ultimate prize, you have to look beyond the basketball court. She is more than an athlete. She's a cultural phenomenon, a once-in-a-generation talent who transcends the sport itself. When she entered the WNBA last April, the entire league's attendance jumped by 23%. The TV ratings for her Indiana Fever game skyrocketed by an unbelievable 400%. Her jersey became the fastest selling in WNBA history, selling out in minutes and creating a secondary market where prices soared into the thousands, and the Fever went from playing in half-empty arenas to selling out every single game, home and away. She draws audiences that have, on occasion, beaten NBA playoff games. But the Caitlin Clark effect is even more profound than just tickets and jerseys. Local businesses in cities with Fever played reported massive surges in revenue on game days. Bars and restaurants were packed with fans in her number 22 jersey, a phenomenon rarely seen for regular season women's sports. For Project B, signing Caitlin Clark isn't just about adding a great shooter. It's about acquiring instant legitimacy, a guaranteed media cyclone, and a massive, ready-made fan base that will follow her anywhere. She is the key that unlocks the entire market. Her presence alone would force major television networks to seriously consider broadcasting deals they would have previously ignored. Corporate sponsors, who have been historically hesitant with the WNBA, will be lining up around the block to attach their brand to her in this new, flashy league. If she signs, the floodgates open. Suddenly, Sophie Cunningham is more likely to join because she'd be playing with her friend in a historic, high-profile setting. Veterans like Sue Bird might be tempted out of retirement for one last, monumental payday and a chance to be part of a revolution. International stars would jump at the chance to play in what would instantly become the most talked about basketball league on the planet. One signature from Caitlin Clark doesn't just get Project B a player. It builds an entire league's infrastructure, credibility, and global appeal overnight. But this decision is far from simple, and the backlash will be nuclear. We have to talk about the elephant in the room: Saudi Arabia's human rights record. The same exact criticism was leveled against LIV Golf. They were accused of sports washing, using the glamour and global appeal of sports to clean up a country's reputation and distract from its well-documented restrictions on women's rights, LGBTQ+ rights, and free speech. For the WNBA, this created a moral crisis of epic proportions. This is a league that has proudly and vocally built its identity on social justice, LGBTQ+ equality, and women's empowerment. Many of its biggest stars, including Breanna Stewart and Brittany Griner, are openly gay and have been powerful advocates for the community. The league dedicated an entire season to social justice, wearing Breonna Taylor's name on their jerseys, and speaking out forcefully against racial inequality. So how can these same players possibly justify taking millions from a government where women only recently gained the right to drive, and where homosexuality is criminalized and can lead to severe punishment? The cognitive dissonance is deafening. Can you truly stand for women's empowerment while taking a king's ransom from a regime with such a record? The social media explosion will be immediate, and sponsors, who are often skittish about controversy, will get incredibly nervous. For a player like Caitlin Clark, this isn't just a basketball decision. It's a decision that will define her public persona for the rest of her life. She would be labeled by many as a tool for sports washing, and every achievement in the new league would be framed by her critics within this contentious context. The very values the WNBA community holds dear would be seen as compromised, creating a rift between her and some of her fellow players, fans, and activists that could take a lifetime to heal. This is where the argument gets incredibly complicated, and where the players have a very, very valid point. Why are women's basketball players being held to a higher moral standard than anyone else? The sheer hypocrisy on a global scale is staggering. NBA teams have been playing preseason games in Abu Dhabi for years, with stars smiling for photos with sheiks, and the league has welcomed Saudi investment into its business without a fraction of the scrutiny. The PGA Tour, after months of moral posturing and claiming the moral high ground, ended up merging with LIV Golf in a stunning reversal, effectively taking the Saudi Public Investment Fund's money and making them a partner. American corporations from every industry, from tech giants to defense contractors, do billions upon billions of dollars in business with Saudi Arabia every single year to fuel the very economy we all live in. Male athletes get to separate business from politics all the time. They can simply say, "I'm just here to play ball," and the world largely moves on. So why is Caitlin Clark, a 22-year-old woman, suddenly expected to solve Middle Eastern geopolitics and bear the weight of ethical scrutiny that Fortune 500 CEOs and legendary male athletes are not subjected to? And let's be brutally honest here. WNBA players have been playing authoritarian countries for decades to make ends meet because their WNBA salaries alone weren't enough. Diana Taurasi made over $1.5 million playing in Russia, a country with its own severe human rights issues. Brittany Griner was famously imprisoned in Russia under terrifying circumstances, highlighting the very real risks players have taken for higher pay. They played in Turkey and China, all over the world. The only difference now is that the money is so colossal and the source is so direct that it can no longer be ignored or swept under the rug. It forces a conversation the sports world has been able to avoid for a very long time. So we arrive at the ultimate crossroads, and for Caitlin Clark, the weight of this decision is unimaginable. On one hand, you have a reported offer of $10 million or more for a single offseason. Let's just sit with that number for a second. $10 million for 3 months of work. This is money that her current WNBA career could never, ever provide, even if she became the greatest player of all time and maxed out her salary for a decade. It's the kind of financial security that doesn't just change your life. It rewrites your entire family's history. It means your parents can retire tomorrow. It means you can build a state-of-the-art training facility in your hometown. It means you have the capital to launch your own business ventures and brands, becoming a true mogul beyond the court. This isn't just a paycheck. It's absolute freedom. The freedom to never worry about money again, to make decisions based purely on passion and legacy rather than financial necessity. For any 22-year-old, regardless of their profession, this is the ultimate test. On the other hand, saying yes means willingly stepping into a firestorm from which there is no return. She instantly becomes the global face of Saudi Arabia's investment in women's sports. Every headline, every segment on a talk show, every social media post about Project B will feature her name and her picture. The criticism will be relentless and will come from every direction. Former players, activists, and a significant portion of her own fan base will question her character, her values, and her integrity. They will accuse her of prioritizing wealth over women's rights, over LGBTQ plus equality, of being a pawn in a geopolitical game she doesn't fully understand. The immense pressure could alienate her from the very league and community that catapulted her to stardom. Imagine the locker room dynamics if she returns to the WNBA after a season playing for a league that is actively trying to destabilize it. The side eyes, The quiet conversations that stop when she walks in, the potential loss of camaraderie. But here's the terrifying part of this domino theory. If she says no, the offer doesn't disappear into thin air. Project B will simply take that same blank check to the next superstar on their list. They will go to Io Wilson, the two-time MVP, and make her the same offer. They will go to Breanna Stewart and make her the highest paid female athlete in history for one offseason. Someone, somewhere will say yes. It is an inevitability. The financial temptation is simply too powerful, and not every player will have the same sponsors or the same tolerance for public criticism. It only takes one domino to fall for the entire landscape to be permanently rearranged. And the league's design as an off-season venture makes the moral calculus even more tortuously complex. Its position as the ultimate off-season destination, directly replacing the leagues in Turkey and Russia, where players like Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi went for years, largely without this level of scrutiny. This framing is strategic genius. It allows a player to tell themselves, I'm not leaving the WNBA. I'm just making a smarter business decision for my offseason. But in reality, accepting this money is a fundamentally different act. It's not just going abroad to play. It's fueling a direct competitor backed by a sovereign wealth fund with seemingly infinite resources. This makes the offer not just tempting, but an agonizing paradox. How you choose between securing your family's future forever and potentially sacrificing the respect of the basketball world you've worked your entire life to join. We are standing at the edge of a point of no return. Those Instagram follows from Grady Barnett are the first tremors of an earthquake that is about to reshape women's sports. The negotiations are real. The money is real. The moral conflict is real. Watch the social media feeds of these players closely. Look for them going quiet about their off-season plans. Listen for carefully worded statements that don't deny anything. Something huge is brewing. Women's basketball is on the verge of a financial revolution identical to the one that tore through men's golf. The leagues, the salaries, the very structure of the sport are all about to be challenged in a way no one ever thought possible. The only questions left are who will be brave enough, or perhaps tempted enough, to sign first, and what will be left of the world they knew when they do. This is one of the most consequential stories in modern sports, and it's unfolding right now. What do you think Caitlin Clark should do? Take the generational wealth and face the backlash, or stay with a traditional league and leave life-changing money on the table? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. This is a debate that doesn't have an easy answer. And if you made it this far, you clearly understand how massive this story is. So do us a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's see how this shocking story unfolds together.